Hey, this is Brandon with Be Aircooled. Welcome back to our Lancia Delta Integrale Evo 2 breakdown. We are breaking down the 16-valve turbo fuel pressure system today, and the reason why we're doing that is because this car has a nasty hunt and stumble at idle. So we're suspecting something in the fuel side of things. If you've checked in on our other videos, then you've already seen how to jumper your electric fuel pump directly without having to use your ignition switch. You need to do that for all of these diagnostic tests that we're showing you how to do. You've already seen the fuel pressure regulator shakedown. You've seen the fuel pressure return hose shakedown, which is part of that regulator video in there. You've seen us check our fuel pump, and now you're going to see us check our fuel injectors and do a leak down test. The first stage of doing the injector leak down test is just leaking them down with them in the injection manifold, everything connected up. So we're not going to be pulling everything apart just yet, but I can tell you right now we've gone ahead and done this once before we shot the video here, so we do know what we're in for, and we will be continuing the process further and show you how to do that. So initially, get your fuel pump jumper set up. Once you have your fuel pump jumper set up at the fuel pump relay, then you're ready to send power through and pressurize your fuel system. The next thing you need to do is you need to move. If you followed our last video, you are already set on this side of our ball valve for a fuel pump pressure test. Once you come back to this side of the ball valve with your fuel gauge, so we've got our fuel pressure gauge up here. We've teed into this side, which is the rail side of the ball valve. This is the feed line coming from the fuel filter. This is going to the fuel rail. And so if we cut it right here, we back up the fuel pressure at the fuel pump and we hold any preloaded pressure into the fuel rail system. So that's important. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be watching our gauge after we initially run the fuel pump. We're going to, while the fuel pump is running, we're going to cut the valve. That'll leave us with the 3-bar pressure that we know we're already putting into the system. And then we're going to cut the valve. We'll cut the pump pretty much immediately after cutting the valve. And we'll watch our pressure gauge and we'll see where it comes to. What we ideally want to see in this situation is we ideally want to see it bounce down a little bit, like slowly rest. And then when it rests at a certain point, you want to timer it for about 60 seconds and note how much further you're dropping, if at all. It should hold. If you're dropping, that means one or more of your injectors could be faulty, or there's a leak somewhere else in the injection system, somewhere on the rail, one of the hoses, something that's holding pressure to the system. So let's go ahead and run this test real quick. Again, I'm going to be flipping on the fuel pump here. Fuel pump is running, and we're up to our pressure, our regulated pressure. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut things off and cut our fuel pump off. And we are dropping rapidly. And that is a more rapid drop than you would normally expect to see. You would expect it to see drop and hold of maybe, we're on PSI, so maybe 10 PSI, maybe 1 full bar, but as you can see, we're still dropping down right now. We're almost leaking out to nothing. And trust me, I have triple checked every hose connection because this was the last result that I wanted to see. But in the case of this particular car, we're going to actually have to break the injection system off of the manifold and give each injector an individual inspection with this same leak down test.